Commercial Bollywood movies are made with one sole intention: appeal to as many people as possible and maximize the profit margins. This often goes hand in hand with casting big stars, featuring catchy music, and above all, staying away from overcomplicated scripts to avoid restricting the film's audience to a minor section of the filmgoers. However, sometimes, even the upper echelon of the industry dives into these risky areas in trying to experiment with something new, but end up getting misinterpreted by the masses expecting something more universal. Hello guys, welcome to Filmanter, and for today's list, we'll be looking at some commercial Bollywood movies that tried doing something new but were generally misunderstood by the masses. Now, before we begin, please note that we're not saying that these movies were necessarily good or bad. All we're saying is that because they were made with an intention to be different, a lot of people ended up either misreading them or in some cases outright rejecting them. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to Filmanter and press the bell icon to never miss an update. With that out of the way, this is Amir, and here are 5 commercial Bollywood movies misunderstood by the masses. Number 5. Well, that was a convenient ending. Talash, the answer lies within.
चुप रहिए। अगर आप वाकई करण से बात कर सकती हैं, तो बुलाइए उसे। मैं देखना चाहता हूं उसको। कहां है वो?
मैं ऐसा नहीं कर सकती।
By the time Talash rolled out in late 2012, Aamir Khan had already established himself as the undisputed ruler of the box office, with both of his major releases prior going on to become all-time blockbusters in the Hindi cinema. And by the first look of this murder mystery, it only appeared to be upping the ante. All good, right? Well, not quite. When audience walked out of the first few showings of Talash, a sense of betrayal was generally prevalent among the masses, who felt that the movie didn't deliver on what it promised: a gripping suspense with a case of mysterious murder incident at the center. What they got, however, was identified by most as a convenient out to end the film on an unbelievably supernatural note that many believed came out of nowhere. Rather than giving us an actual murderer, the movie simply ended with the reveal of a ghost doing all this. Only, it all did make sense. And all you needed to do to make sense of it was to stay away from the quite misleading marketing of the film that didn't do any good to its theatrical footfalls. Talash was not a murder mystery. It was a psychological drama that dealt with deeply personal human issues like self-deprecation, isolation, and the loss of a close one. The film at various intervals did tease its inclusion of the supernatural in different contexts through both its screenplay and dialogues, and all we needed to do was just be open to such an ending. It's hard though. See, Talash relied on a climactic twist we all would have seen coming from miles away had we known the real genre of the film heading into it. So that's exactly what the makers chose to keep hidden: the film's genre. The move just didn't work for the viewers heading in with specific expectations. Number 4. Why so serious? Tamasha.
यहाँ तो तुम कह सकती थी ना?
क्या?
जो सच है। असल बात है, वो तुम बता सकती थी ना?
Unlike Talash, 2015's Tamasha had a lot of expectations already sorted before its release. After Rockstar and Highway, most fans already knew that it wasn't a good idea to expect something overly simplistic from Imtiaz Ali's latest outing. What they didn't know, however, was how much of the unconventional could they actually expect heading in. The movie, upon its release, divided the audience like no other Hindi movie had done before it for a long time. While some even called it one of the best they've seen that year, many panned the movie heavily for its self-indulgent take on its story that was described by them as ponderous and even drawn out. Criticism started pouring in, especially when the refreshingly upbeat and lively atmosphere of the first half was snatched away for a dark, personal, and above all, confrontational second half. See, when we watch a commercial Bollywood movie, all we're looking for is an escape from reality that takes us through a range of emotions in an exciting few hours and relieves us of our stress. And most commercial movies do pander to this idea. But here we had a movie that not only refused to play by the books, but actively challenged us to look at ourselves as critically as Ved did to himself. If you went into Tamasha expecting a unique story, your disappointment was valid. But Tamasha was not about the story. Not at all. It was about the storytelling. The movie's name literally translates to putting up an act. Act being the story here, which even the movie admits is the same all the time. It's just how we put it up that determines if we want to be a part of the same rat race happening all around us or carve our own path. Number 3. Glorifying infidelity? Kabhi alvida na kehna.
तुम्हारे इस एक फैसले से हम सबकी जिंदगी बदल जाएगी, पर तुमने इसके बारे में सोचा भी नहीं।
क्योंकि रिया सिर्फ अपने बारे में सोचती।
After his earlier blockbusters in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai and Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, fans were very excited to know that Karan Johar was teaming up with Shah Rukh Khan yet again for an all-out saga revolving around the same type of family issues that his earlier movies dealt with under the same grandeur of Dharma Productions. What they didn't expect, however, were two highly unlikable protagonists in Dev and Maya who had no real reason to complain about their married lives and yet cheat on their partners respectively while their infidelity is romanticized in traditional Bollywood ways in this 2006 drama. Songs like Tum Hi Dekho Na playing as Dev and Maya engage in a disgusting love affair while their seemingly perfect partners stay unaware of the fact rub the audience in the wrong way, and maybe rightfully so. But there's a catch. Okay, we're not going to justify infidelity now, but in the film's defense, a lot of people do miss the point that the movie was not an objective telling of the story. It was rather being told from Dev's perspective. He was the one narrating his story, and at various points did mention what he and Maya were doing was wrong with every stretch of the imagination. It was Dev's retelling of the story that we were seeing, and so the glorification of cheating did make some sense. We saw it the way Dev felt it at that time. Maya was an escape for Dev, escape from what he believed was a condescending married life. But because we as audience knew that wasn't the case with his married life, we ended up not liking Dev in the process. Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna was a brave movie both by Johar and Khan, shedding away the actor's biggest asset, his charming on-screen persona, for a movie that didn't sit well with the masses for the exact same reason. Number 2. So, what was Ranbir doing at all? Roy.
That's done. अब इससे पहले कि मुझे रोना आ जाए चली जाओ यहाँ से बहुत काम है मेरे पास.
Bye. Roy was not a good film, but it didn't help that the movie raised more questions than answers at the end for all the wrong reasons. Questions like, was Ranbir really a robber? What was the relation between Kabir and Roy? Was Aisha two-timing both Roy and Kabir? Why were their stories so similar? And above all, what the hell is this dynamic role? Okay, so let me have a go. The 2015 movie Roy was a film based on a filmmaker Kabir Grewal and his obsession with an unnamed robber he encountered during his childhood who inspired him to make his Guns trilogy where the main character's name was Roy. For Guns Part 3 though, Kabir goes to Malaysia for filming where he meets a British filmmaker Aisha and soon starts using their real encounters with each other to complete his movie Guns Part 3. He even goes as far as casting a look-alike of Aisha in his film for the character of Tia, that's the Jacqueline with short hair. From that point, whatever transpires between Kabir and Aisha becomes part of Kabir's film as his characters Roy and Tia follow the same journey. Aisha soon leaves Kabir for whatever reason, which sends Kabir back to his writer's block days, which he finally overcomes by giving Guns 3 a happy ending by reuniting Roy and Tia. Believing that he is a changed man now, Aisha too comes back in Kabir's life after the movie's release. What we saw in the movie Roy was a parallel story structure that featured both the real life of Kabir and scenes from his movie Guns Part 3 scattered throughout, giving it a real-time feel, particularly to confuse us, the viewers. So what exactly was Ranbir playing? Ranbir was an actor playing the role of Roy in Kabir's Guns trilogy. He was not really a robber, and hence that dynamic role. Yep, that does sound like another movie altogether. But believe us, behind the confusing screenplay and choppy editing to make it look like a smart movie, there is a decent story in Roy. And number 1, what the hell is going on? No smoking.
पूरा पढ़ना पड़ेगा.
अगर हिंदी समझ में ना आए तो अंग्रेजी में भी है. गाइड फॉर डमीज.
Anurag Kashyap's No Smoking is a movie that will make you scratch your head no matter how many times you watch it. The movie, due to its bizarre story and screenplay, left us all with burning questions ranging from how is this even legal, to what kind of therapy is this, to what is his soul doing in a gas chamber, to holy fuck, I'm going insane, please help me. See, had you known the larger context behind the making of No Smoking, it might have made more sense to you. The Anurag Kashyap directorial is a giant 2 hours and 9 minutes long metaphor that the makers smartly wrapped around a premise involving cigarette addiction. It was not really a movie about smoking. On face value, No Smoking was a story about Kay, a smoke addict who gets trapped into this world of a powerful organization that claims to cure such an addiction with very unusual ways. Now let's talk about Kashyap for a minute. The director got his first 2 films banned by the censor board and the government respectively, both of which involved years of thought and hard work. His 3rd film, however, was a desperate attempt coming from a cornered man who spoke about the oppression caused by the ministry earlier that really brings freedom of speech into question in a free country, and how when one takes that away from you, a part of your soul is taken away too. His protagonist in the film K really represented Kashyap himself. Smoking represented his freedom of speech, and the organization here represented the censor board and government, which by the end of the movie do succeed in perishing K's soul for a version of him that lives according to what they consider right. From casting a good-looking lead in John Abraham to having an apparent social message in the movie, the irony of No Smoking was that it not only got cleared for a release by the censor board, but also got facilitated by the health ministry as a campaign against smoking, something that went on to prove what exactly is considered allowable to be screened, when the movie was not really about smoking at all. And there you have it, guys. 5 commercial Bollywood movies misunderstood by the masses. Did we miss any of your favorites? Let us know in the comment section down below. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to Filmantor for more such content ahead. With that out of the way, I hope you have a safe week ahead. My name is Amir, and I will see you soon.